Jainism is a religion from India. The Jain lifestyle revolves around having a concern for the well-being of the earth and everything on it. To the Jains, everything on earth has a soul, including plants and insects. To adhere to this belief, many Jains follow a strict vegetarian diet. Also, Jainism is a religion of austerities. Simplicity in clothes, food, and living style underlies the Jain way of life. The Canisius College Video Institute spoke to a local college student who was also a practicing Jain.
So I'm a vegetarian. That's one of the principles of the religion, is being a vegetarian, especially throughout the childhood, throughout the whole life, that people are vegetarian. And it can get kind of strict because they're not allowed to eat many vegetables, such as potatoes, carrots, anything from the ground, because insects can bury in them. And one of the principles is that it's not supposed to harm any living soul. So if it's the home of insects, we're not supposed to eat it. But a lot of Jains don't follow it that strictly. They'll eat eggs, they'll eat cheese, they'll eat potatoes, and they'll eat carrots and onions. So it's not that bad. But we have certain functions or certain times of the year when we have to adhere to those policies, those strict guidelines.
Paryushan is a holiday that the Jains practice. The word Paryushan means stay in one place, which signifies a time of reflection and repentance. Fasting is common practice during this 8-day period.
Paryushan is when it's a certain time of the year. It follows the Indian calendar, so it varies time to time, but it follows the Indian calendar, and it's a time of forgiving other people and forgiving oneself. And a lot of people actually go through fasting during that point, and they'll not eat anything except ice cubes, if you can count that as eating, and they'll only drink water for 9 days. And a lot of people do that. A lot of very religious Jains do that. Again, it's like with your own connection and how you want to portray it, but many people during Paryushan, we're not allowed to eat the onions, the potatoes. That's when we actually follow the guidelines of not eating potatoes from the ground or the onions, like I said previously about being vegetarian.
Unlike most other religions, Jains do not worship a god. In that sense, it is a non-theistic religion. Their religious goal is to perfect oneself. They view the evil in the world as a testament to the lack of a holy, good, perfect being. When Jains pray, they remind themselves of people who have achieved perfection and inner peace, essentially inspiring them to do the same. Modern Jains, however, worship Hindu gods and participate in all Hindu festivals and culturally share many common things with their Hindu counterparts.
It's one of the nice things about it is you don't have to pray to anyone specific. It's you can pray whenever you want, or you don't have to have like certain requirements to meet this religion. It's really just about your own connection with the outer forces of like Jainism, because Jainism doesn't believe in gods. It's a lot like Buddhism in that respect, but it's about trying to attain nirvana. That's when your soul is full of bliss. It's when it finally reaches its highest point, and it's one with everything. To get kind of metaphysical, but it's what every soul tries to achieve. So Jains are very accepting. They're very nice. Like if you're actually interested in the whole Jain aspect of it, you can easily go in and talk to the people at temple, and they'll be more than happy to tell you. And it doesn't matter what race you are, what gender, anything like that. Just as long as you're curious about it, want to learn more, and to even practice it, there's no set guidelines, and they're very accepting people. And I wouldn't say tolerating, because tolerating is like if something is inherently wrong and they accept it, but accepting by itself is a better word for it, that accepting those around us by taking in that they're not wrong in what they're doing. So it's a good way to accept others as they are.
The Jain community is closely knit. Annual Jain conventions are often held in cities for the purpose of socializing and connecting with practicing Jains.
There's usually a Jain society in most major cities, and about once every year there is a Jain convention where everyone in the nation are allowed to go to like a major city, and that's where like a convention will take place at like a major hotel. And from there we get to meet other Jains, and people can use it as a branching point to find their spouse, their future spouse, or just make new friends, learn about the religion, especially for young kids. They can take time to learn about the songs, learn more about the culture that might have not necessarily been taught to them when they're younger. And especially finding other Jains, it can be quite difficult, especially at UB. It's a large school, but there's not that many Jains, so having a convention is nice. It's a good way to meet other friends that follow the same religion as you. Yeah, we went to temple. It would be the first Sunday of every month, so it's not every Sunday. But depending on occasions, then it would be more than once a month. So if there was a special holiday, we would then go to temple maybe a few times a month. Like, you usually go with your family, and then after it, everyone would bring like a potluck lunch. So afterwards, everyone would socialize, everyone would sit down, especially for a couple hours. And it was nice. It's a good way to be with friends.
Jains are non-violent, since they hold all things with the soul on the same level of importance as they do themselves. Their extreme tolerance of others is an attempt of learning for their own good. Since there are no concrete strict beliefs in Jainism, all of the world's beliefs and practices are accepted by the Jains due to their want for spiritual transcendence. Whatever a specific Jain feels and believes is irrelevant to some sort of religious guideline.
I don't know who really considers themselves violent, but non-violent, it's a good thing to be, because the world is pretty violent, and it's kind of nice to adhering to those principles to try and be a better person, not for yourself, but for others. Attain happiness because you realize that being happy for like the objects will only make you happy for a certain amount of time. Like getting a new computer or like getting movies that you want, they'll only make you happy for a very small amount of time. And by releasing these like happiness that we get from these objects, we can actually get happiness from other things in life that are much more worthwhile, like experiencing life with those that we care about, or being thankful for what we have in life and being happy what we're provided with. So it's a good way to just always remind ourselves that we're very fortunate in what we have.